S3E6.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, these are the voyages of a podcaster that can never get to the point. He may talk about the Starship Enterprise, but the real enterprise I embark on is keeping you company and taking your mind off stuff so I can put you to sleep. This show is very silly. If you're new, so glad you're here. Regular listeners, welcome back. But for the new listener, this show, it takes a few tries to get used to. I'm here to keep you company because you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a friend in the deep, dark night that's going to talk to you, but you don't need to listen to me. Friendly voice that's a little bit strange and goofy, but well-intentioned. That's what this show is. So give it a few tries if you're new. Structurally, what to expect. We're going to have some support here. That's what helps us keep the podcast free for everybody. Then there'll be a long, meandering intro, which is meant to help ease you into bedtime and give you an idea what the show's about. Then we'll talk about Star Trek TNG, but it'll just be like a bedtime story. You don't need to have watched the show. Could be about anything. And, yeah, that's it. I'm here to keep you company, take your mind off. So glad you're here. Appreciate you coming by. And here's a couple of ways we're able to do it. Oh, and it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And here's a couple of ways we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, Scoots. Don't forget the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me is on sleep phones. They have a wired version and two different wireless versions, and you could get a Sleep With Me branded one. So don't forget to use our link. That's the only way to get the Sleep With Me versions of the sleep phones is at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. Check them out. There's a couple different cute little choices made by a friend of Ashley. You got to get yourself some sleep phones. Get over there. Check it out. Not only are sleep phones great to sleep in, especially when you're traveling, they're also terrific for running. So get over there, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones, and use Sleep With Me to get $5 off your order. That's Sleep With Me to get $5 off your order. And you can only get the Sleep With Me versions using that link, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it is time to talk about the bed I sleep in, the mattress I love. It's time to talk about Helix Sleep. But while, I love my Helix Dusk Luxe, it's more about you, like taking that quiz, helixsleep.com/sleep, because I love, I love my bed. You should be in a bed you love as much as I love my mattress. And you might say, Helix Sleep. Well, Helix Sleep is a premium mattress brand that provides tailored mattresses based on your unique sleep preferences. The Helix lineup has 14 unique mattresses, including a collection of luxury models, a mattress for big and tall sleepers, even a mattress for kids. And that's what I mean. You take that quiz so that you know which Helix mattress works best for you and your body. It takes 2 minutes to find your perfect mattress. That mattress will be shipped right to your door free of charge. You get to try out your Helix in your home. So if you decide it's not the best fit, you're welcome to return it for a full refund. Everybody's unique. Everybody sleeps different. I sleep on my side. I sleep on my stomach. I sleep hot. But you probably sleep different than that. And that's why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. And when I took the Helix quiz, I got matched with that Helix Dusk. I picked the Dusk Luxe. And not only is it the best mattress I've slept on, but it comes straight to your door. Setting it up is fast, easy. You take it out of the box, you open it up, you put it on your base, and you're good to go. Helix mattresses are American-made, come with a 10 or 15-year warranty, depending on the model. Remember, you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free if you don't love it. I mean, I know you will, but if you don't, they'll pick it up for you, give you a full refund. So here's what you need to do. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep because Helix is offering up to 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep. This is the best offer yet. It won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast in each area where I pop my peas, if you please. I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors. Let the sponsors know about it. That's how we're here free twice a week. And if you want to hear your name on the Sleepy Supporter Zone, you support a sponsor, you let them know about it, let me know about it, fill out the form at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors, and I'll send you a thank you video. I'll try to thank you here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone. own, like Caitlin, who got an Air Doctor 3000. And thanks to listeners like Caitlin, Air Doctor is back supporting the show. Caitlin's having a baby any day now, 4 cats, 2 dogs, and decided to invest in a high-quality air purifier and support the show at the same time. So thank you, Caitlin, for supporting Air Doctor, letting them know about it, letting me know about it. Couldn't do it without listeners like you, so thank you so much, Caitlin. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. There's links to resources you can connect with, including international resources, right in our show notes. And it's about being part of positive change, being a part of community, taking action to say Black Lives Matter, to stop API hate, to support Ukraine, and links to learn more and take action are in our show notes. And one thing we're doing as a community is building hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness. You could sign up and support at sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. We're supporting organizations like the Midnight Mission. It's downtown LA. It has the only 24/7 restroom, and they really need hygiene kits and a bunch of other stuff. You can find links by signing up for the newsletter, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. What do you say? Oh, Mystery Bard. What do you say? I asked Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget to get your sleep phones. The most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. Use our code SLEEPWITHME to save $5. And what do you say? We slow it down and get on with the show. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed and turn out the lights and press play. We're going to do the rest. And what I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, things on your mind that you're thinking about the past, the present, the future, thinking things. It could be emotions about the past, the present, or the future, related to those thoughts or that are just there, left over from the day. But whatever, it could be feelings about that, it could be whatever, you could have feelings, that's a very normal human thing. Physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be waking up over and over again, even though you're comfortable and sound asleep, because your dreams are repetitive. This is me getting in the way, but that was the last couple nights. Dreams that aren't bad dreams, but they're full of rote tasks. See what? Can I get some rest in my dreams, please? And then I guess what I do is I just take a break. But that's But this podcast could be your break. You're listening to me. So whatever's keeping you awake, it could be one of those things. It could be something else. I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so you could fall asleep, because you deserve a good night's sleep. Because myself and a lot of other people listening right now can relate to how it feels in the deep, dark night. Those are reasons I make the show. You really do deserve a bedtime you could look forward to or feel neutral about, a bedtime you don't have to dread. And I really hope this podcast can provide it for you so you get the rest you need, so your life is more manageable, and then eventually you can start getting the rest you need on a regular basis, and you could be out there flourishing. That means our world is going to be a better place, so your world will be a better place. So I hope the show can help. And like I said, I might not know exactly what you're going through, what you're dealing with, what is keeping you up. But I can probably relate to how it feels. And if not, there's someone else out there listening right now who can. I can tell you that it is true. So you're not alone in the deep, dark night. That's what it comes down to basically for this show. Just a friendly voice or a reminder that there's other people out there kind of going through the same thing. We know how it feels. So what I'll do is I'll send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'll use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones. Oh, so creaky are my tones. That just means my voice is not traditionally soothing or what you would associate like I'm not a sleep expert. I'm not I'm not, we haven't talked about this in a while. I'm not a guru, but, I'm more of a goo brain, or I'd say, are you a goo? And I'd say, I could probably be like you say, what are you going for Halloween? Oh, well, I'm going to be a goo dancer. Oh, it's pronounced go-go dance. No, I'm a goo dancer. Like the band of the Goo Goo Dolls? No. Though I guess if they had dancers, they'd be Goo Goo dancers, but then Goo Goo Doll dancers. So that confused me. But no, I'm more of a goo brain. I'm more of a goo goo. I'm just a goo goo. I don't even need to describe it more than that. No guru. He's a goo goo. The goo goo. I don't know. You say, what's goo? I say, well, it's kind of like goop. Once upon a time, there was a couple popular children's toys. Goo they called it slime or goo. There was also goop, and there was even floam. And I'll tell you what, I wish I could get my hands literally on some floam. That was when wasn't that a thing that people were into, is making their own slime? I think my daughter was into that for a while. That wasn't that long ago, but I don't know when the last time I saw floam was, which was a combination of round foam balls and goo slime together. I believe it was, branded for Nickelodeon. And I know I bought it once. It was really comforting stuff. I'm surprised it's not around anymore. It probably is. I don't even know if it's called floam, but I mean, that's what I think it was. That's pretty, I would call it gloam, but that doesn't sound as good as floam. They could sell it at IKEA, I guess. You see, what's that chair called? Flong. It's full of floam. But it's more, isn't it glop, flop? No, flong. Yeah, I don't know if I want to send anything called a flong. Flom. I guess they'd just call it flom, Flom, with some sort of markings around it. Anyway, that's why I'm not a guru. I don't even know. I mean, I send my voice across the deep dark, you creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders and superfluous tangents, which we've just seen a few of them, right? I go off topic, I get mixed up. Turns out I just Googled it. Sorry, I just wanted to, someone actually Googled for me a long time, is floam still a thing? So turns out it is. So I send my voice, long, soothing tones, pointless meanders. This is not a podcast that puts you to sleep. It keeps you company while you fall asleep. And it's not a podcast you listen to either. You can listen if you can't sleep. There's a percentage of people that listen because they can't sleep. So I'm here to keep you company to the very end, but there's no pressure to fall asleep at all. There's no pressure to listen to me. You could be sleeping and barely listening. You could be awake and barely listening, or you could be listening along and you say, yeah, I remember that flom stuff. And I think I like make IKEA notes, the podcast, about IKEA and things interesting to IKEANs. Those are super IKEA fans, and they already sell flom, which is I don't know, what would a flom be? What would a flom say? That's not a song. But maybe one day we could do a podcast about that. I don't know, because my first thing that always pops in my head, I mean, I'm picturing some sort of beanbag chair, but that would only be if it contained phloem. Phloem. Holy moly. If you're new, this is like a regular, I had no idea I'd be going on. This is why, because a lot of people say, why is there like a 20-minute intro in a sleep podcast? And usually I talk about the structure in a different way. Or why would someone listen to this? And I say, well, the intro is 20 minutes long because it's meant to ease you into bedtime or to be listened to while you're getting ready for bed or unwinding or in bed getting comfortable. But it's also where random stuff comes up out of my brain. And then we could go on a pointless meander about it. And then you realize, oh, okay, he is a goo brain. He is a goo goo. And that's okay. And maybe you've got a little goo goo in you. 'Cause I do. There we go. There's another musical. The goo goo, like that would be a song in a musical. The goo goo in you. 'Cause I'm hearing someone say, I do, with a long, forlorn thing at the end. I don't know what musical that's from. So this is a podcast you don't listen to. Doesn't really put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company throughout the night. Your borbay, your borsib, your borbud, your boyfriend, your bor bestie, your borbur, your neighbor, your borbra. I'm here to be your friend in the deep dark night. Take your mind off stuff, whether you're listening or awake, whether you listen all night long or you listen on a 15-minute timer, a 30-minute timer, 45-minute timer, 60-minute timer, 120. Whatever it is, I'm here to keep you company so that you could fall asleep. So structurally, I kind of said it. The show starts off with a greeting. That's if you'll seen and welcome. You say, I might check this podcast out. Then there's support so the show can be free. And then there's an intro, which is meant to ease you into bedtime, to be a transition phase, though some people do fall asleep during it. And then there'll be some more support for the show. Then we'll talk about Star Trek The Next Generation. But you don't really have to have any prep for it. Don't worry. I'll mostly explain poorly and vaguely what's happening. It happens on a spaceship, but it's kind of like a cruise ship or a big ship. And there'll be locations. There'll be some, I don't know. It'll be nice. Don't worry. And what else do you need to know? Oh, this show is not for everybody. A little late for this, but some people. Here's the thing. It is a catch-22. Some people absolutely loathe this podcast, and they can't stand me. But there's a lot of people that at first they find me not comforting or soothing because I'm not really comforting or soothing until you get to know me. That rhymes with floamy. Get to know me. I'm floamy. Goo Goo Flomy's the name. If I went to clown school, that's what I'd go by. Goo Goo Flomy. You say, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, no, Goo Goo Flomy's the name. Poorly designed balloons that are not animals is the game. Trying to make balloon animals and watching them pop is my game. They call me Goo Goo Flomy. I guess I would be a clown in a lab coat, maybe. Anyway, holy moly. Talk about archetypal. I mean, just because you say that's the one clown I trust, Goo Goo Flomy. Why? Well, I mean, with a name like Goo Goo Flomy, how could you do anything but say, interesting. That's, it wouldn't, Goo Flomy would not, Goo Flomy. If I was going in for a business deal, at a real estate closing, I'd be Goo Flomy. But Goo Goo Flomy is really what I go by. I'll tell you what, call a couple. If there's ever an IKEA hotel, call up and say, is Goo Goo Flomy in? Is Goo Goo Flomy? Please connect me with Goo Goo Flomy, the inventor of the flam. Of course he should be staying at the IKEA hotel. Okay, where were we? Structure the show. Okay, so then, support, then TNG talk, then thank yous. Oh, some people don't like the show. That's what I was talking about. And that's normal, but you do get to this podcast with some natural skepticism and doubt if you've been having trouble sleeping for a long time, like myself and a lot of listeners. And the number one thing, other than I strongly loathe you in the reviews of the show and the feedback I get, is, hey, it took me 2 or 3 tries, and it maybe took me 2 or 3 tries over a few years before I realized, oh, you were being honest when you said, don't listen to me. I'm not going to put you to sleep. I don't make any sense. They said my brain's 42% phloem. But then the Nickelodeon called and said, actually, that's copyrighted. And then IKEA called. So they said, and I said, what do you have? Intimate domain over my brain? And then they laughed and they said, we got to let you go. That's according to Nickelodeon's bylaws, that's a technicality. Calling yourself an intimate brain instead of intimate domain. I said, great. I said, could you slime me then? Or let me on Double Dare or something. Okay, where were we? Holy cow. Oh, so some people, they give it a few tries. That's what people say. They say, I really didn't like you in the podcast. And then I realized, it's kind of a harmless jibber jabbering. And now I pay for the podcast. So give it a few tries, see how it goes. You got nothing to lose. If you already know that, you say, what in the name of phloem? I make the Phloemcast, a podcast about phloem and things interesting to phloemers. That was a professional sport for a brief period of time. It's kind of like ultimate frisbee and dodgeball combined. It was on the imaginary Nickelodeon World Tour, and the Nick Show channel. I don't even know. So, yeah, just give it a try, see how it goes. I'm glad you're here. I work really hard at this podcast. So do a bunch of other people. So it could come out twice a week, so it can be of service to those that need it, because we've been there. So I really hope it can help you. Thanks again for checking the podcast out and coming by. And here's a couple of ways we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive, home of the Name Your Price tool. You say how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you the coverage options to fit your budget. It's easy to start a quote. Visit Progressive.com to get started. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. All right, everybody, it is time to talk about tonight's sponsor, ZocDoc. And we all know that group chat you got going or the forum you're in, and that's a place you're extremely unlikely to find quality medical advice. But that advice you're looking for, you could find it from a doctor on ZocDoc. And you know when you got that question in your mind and you're searching on those forums, you're asking in those group chats, that question is stewing inside you. But ZocDoc is way better. There are thousands of medical professionals on ZocDoc there to help you, and they listen like a friend and give you the expert care you need. ZocDoc is the only free app that lets you find and book doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them and treat almost every condition under the sun. And I'm going to look up right now, I'm just going to search because my back has been bothering me. And I just searched for the part of the back that's bothering me. I'm searching for tomorrow. And yeah, there's a bunch of doctors that come up. There's 4.76, 154 reviews. This one has 153 reviews, 4.97, 60 reviews. So it goes on and on and on. I can make an appointment right here in the app. No more doctor roulette or scouring the internet for questionable reviews. With ZocDoc, you have a trusted guide to connect to your favorite doctor you haven't met yet. Millions of people use ZocDoc's free app to find and book a doctor in their neighborhood who's patient-reviewed and fits their needs and their schedule just right. So go to ZocDoc.com/sleep and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/sleep. ZocDoc.com/sleep. But make sure to use that link. Thanks, everybody. Everybody Scoots here, and time to talk about another episode of TNG. What is this called? It reminds me of something they said in what do you call that? That movie Goonies. Not everybody's seen that movie, but there was I don't know where the term actually. Maybe I could look that up. But it's there's they use the term booby prize and booby surprise. Let me just make sure. Let me see here as we're doing this. Booby. What does it even mean? It's a setup to surprise someone. But where does the etymology come from? Oh, it used to be a wooden board game, too. Well, I don't know. Let me see if I just put in etymology. Is that what it is? Etymology? E-T? Yeah, there we go. Starting off early here. Oh, it was a seabird known as the booby that would surprise sailors with lunch. So interesting. The legend of the booby. It's since the 17th century. Booby surprise. Remember, named after bird. Okay, so we're talking about that episode. I got to find it, though. Got to turn down the volume. Oh, it's already down. It's season 3, episode 6. And a couple things. How did we get here? Why this episode, right? You know, it's like we were doing the other episode where Geordi had told, who was that person, even though I just covered the episode? Can't remember the guy's name, even though it's my job, too. But he was in Trivial Pursuits or whatever was the name of the episode. It wasn't Hollow Pursuits, Barclay. But so Geordi had said to Barclay, I mean, I don't know, one of the goals of the season, original, like I'm trying to see any episodes with Guinan's Wisdom or Cardassians, just because that's where the road has led us here. But then this one, in the last episode, Geordi said, it come up in a list of episodes Guinan was in, and then Geordi said, hey, and some listeners also mentioned it, or patrons mentioned it. So I have these like multiple lists, and then Geordi said, hey, I fell in love with someone on the holodeck once. It's totally normal. Then the ship's computer groaned, which was inaudible except to me. So I did some research, and it's a little bit, again, just like Barclay says, this like, how come you just don't have a protocol? I mean, I guess, I don't know. I don't understand like the rules or the unwritten rules. I'm starting to understand more of the rules around the holodeck, which I guess is like shore, like when you can't get shore leave, you need some holodeck leave. And then I know it's interesting because I read this other book, I don't know, let's not go down that road, but that dating's allowed on board the Enterprise, which I guess if you look at humanism, I don't know, it seems complicated. So anyway, this led me to this episode because I thought this episode where this is where Geordi starts to fall in love, I guess. Or maybe he does. I mean, I guess Geordi may define falling in love differently than I do. And so one of the plot, and this actually has a nice little plot to it, in addition to Geordi's dating life, which I would say, I guess is what do we got? The B plot, I don't know, they're intertwined, or it starts off, I don't know, there's some nice stuff in here, some nice Picard moments too. But anyway, so it's called the Booby Surprise. And let's see, my notes, it says it starts off with Geordi on the beach by moon. It's sunset. Another thing that stuck out to me about this episode, and there were other episodes like this where the sound is a little bit different, the background music and stuff, and it's a little bit more noticeable. And this is one of those ones that's very 80s. I enjoyed it. But it's not always that on the nose like it is. Also, there's a lot of sound effects. Okay, with all that being said, let's get this episode started here. There's a moon or a planet in the sky and like sunset, a beach. Geordi's on the beach with someone. They're dressed in like beach formal casual wear. And Geordi's like... they're tipping back cocktails. I assume they're mocktails, though. Coco No-Nos. I guess that's funny. There's no alcohol in them. But she says, I've had enough, Geordi. And Geordi's saying, oh, I almost forgot. This is so bizarre. And I guess like what I love about the characters is that Geordi thinks this is a good idea. He calls in a violinist who has no sense of personal space, also of sonic space. And I guess the song is Hungarian Rhapsody, which is a familiar tune. You've heard it before. And the violinist, who also has a neon orange vest on. So maybe he was playing last, but Geordi had him was playing like, I don't know where else. But so we figure out that Geordi and this woman are on a date, though it's not going very well. Geordi just tried to move over a little bit. And now he moved over again. Interesting. I didn't notice that before. Oh, he just tried to put his arm around her. Okay, so he tries to move over. He tries to put his arm around the date while this person is playing the violin in her face. So like literally like some sort of heavy metal, like aggressive rock concert style. And he's creeping around them. And he said, you programmed this, Geordi? And then she says, by the way, this isn't going to work, dude. You're nice, but I don't like you that way. And Geordi sighs. He goes, yeah. And he's let down. And then he says, stop violin program. He doesn't actually tell the computer, though. Then, let's see, very weird. Don't feeling that way. Terrific person. Then we cut to Data and Wes playing 3D chess with this asteroid field behind them, where I guess there was some sort of like big event. Aurelius 9 was decisive between two people that weren't too decisive dance-off, where the whole dance floor, I mean, I guess it was giants or something, because it's not an asteroid field, it's the leftovers of the dance floor. Geordi goes into the 10 forward down. Wes says, uh-oh. Data says, what? He goes, he had a big date with Christy tonight. Tried to put together the perfect program, but it ended early. I say, Wes is, how much did Wes know? Then Data says, uh-oh. Then they call Data the bridge. If you're playing 3D chess, you should just play that on hologram so you could save the program. 211, Mark 61, Data goes right to the controls. It kicks somebody else out, some sort of ancient interplanetary code. And Data says, yep, ancient it is. Is this from Aurelius 9? Not possible. Hardly possible, though. Picard says, let's go look at it. So they start to head into the asteroid giant dance floor field. This was like the subfloor, though. It was concrete or cement or some sort of hard matter. Not the wood. That probably deteriorated in space. If they use wood, then they get something. They put it on the viewer. Oh, boy, it's a ship. Holy cow. It was a ship that had maybe one of the dance crews, Permelian dance cruiser, Lang cycle fusion engines. Scott Lang, they say. Sensor says nobody's on there, though. Hope not, Mr. Data. That belongs in a museum. We're a little late for this dance-off. It was 1,000 years ago that they called, because they have a call for more of their dance crews to come. Zooms on Picard, who was like very struck, and the episode opens. We get another shot at 43205.6 of the ship during the captain's log. Menthars and Promelians danced off to end of all their dance crews. This is a Promelian dance crew deliverer. Picard wants to go. Indulge me, number one. I want to go there. Captain's prerogative. It's my prerogative, he says. Riker says, it's not a good idea, boss. He goes, what are you worried about? Old dancers? Number one, haven't you dreamed about climbing inside the bottle? Riker has no idea what he's talking about. What? The ship in a bottle, man. Riker still doesn't know. Model airships in bottles? I used to build them when I was a child. So he built airships in bottles for battle cruiser. And they say, Data, you sure? So it's Data, Worf, and Picard going, adequate oxygen. It's going to be so cool, Picard. We're going in the bottle, man. Goes the ship in the bottle. No one built. This is one of the best comedy sequences. Let me just set it up. It's at 7:08 on, what is this, Paramount Plus? Okay, so he says, you can't believe Picard's flummoxed. No one's ever played with ships first of all, you don't play with ships in a bottle. That's part of the problem. But he explains it more later, I think. 1,000 years, captain's prerogative. No one's played with no one built ships in a bottle. And then Worf goes, I did not play with toys when they were children. And Data says, I was never a boy. When you were a little boy. And O'Brien totally looks like he's kissing Bud. He goes, yeah, I did, sir. He goes, great, O'Brien. Consider all your other demerits erased from all your other. I did not play with toys. I love Worf. I was never a boy, Data says. Guard sighs. I did, sir. Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Then he says, proceed. Then Riker stares O'Brien down like, what a behind kisser you are. There's also this echo music that starts or has already been playing throughout the episode, which you'd be familiar with. Maybe this was something like where the orchestra was on strike or something, or the music designers. I'm not sure. I'm not kidding either, because it does sound like a lot like stock music, or maybe their budget. Finals, Seaman Char from chair. Oh, so then they get on the ship. The lights are out. They got flashlights. So 3 beamers or 2 beamers. They find an old ship with an old member of the dance crew, like a model for their clothes. Admirable. They were at their post. This is just the delivery of the dance crew, though. Clumsy bridge. Picard talks about the bridge layout. I think he says you'd expect it to be clumsy, but it says such simplicity. Clumsy and awkward. So Picard's impressed. Then we go back to the ship in a minute. We're still on the bridge of this dance crew vessel, Admirable. But Guinan and Geordi are going to talk. Geordi asks for something stronger. But Geordi, another scene where kind of get some of Geordi's issues because he doesn't even listen to anything Guinan's saying, even the hints she lays very clearly for him. Like she says, she basically says, dude, I'm not a human mammal. I'm just, or whatever we are. I don't know, human, homo sapien. And she doesn't say that, but she says, can you read, do you even know, am I just I don't know anything about Guinan, so I'm probably wrong too. Says, Scooter, actually she is. Oh, okay. She's in a human form. You have anything stronger than this Guinan? And Geordi's on a second drink. Yeah, she says, would it help? Nope. He says, tell me something, Guinan. You're a woman, right? And she says, yes, I can tell you I'm a woman. And he starts saying, well, what's the first thing you look at? And she goes, a person's head. His mind. No, she says, his head. I'm attracted to bald men. What? Maybe because a bald man was nice to me. Or kind to me once, when I was hurting. Took care of me. Geordi says, I'd like to take care of you. And she goes, I take care of myself. And he goes, no, I was meaning generally. I want to take care of somebody. I don't get it, Guinan. I can field strip a fusion reactor, realign a power transfer tunnel, but it can't make anything work. And he goes, I don't know what to do, don't know what to say. She goes, you're doing fine talking to me. He goes, you're different. She goes, no, you're different. And he goes, I'm not trying now. She goes, that's my point. Geordi kind of gets it. He laughs, raises his eyebrows. Wes and Riker on the bridge. Something weird with the power. Acting weird. Define weird, he says. Getting fluctuating waveguide readings. Define weird. Scooter. Okay, but what about with the ship? Data turns the power on the ship they're on. And say, okay, let's get some images of this display. Take some pictures, basically. Source of the signal, Data says it's coming from over on this desk. Everything's covered in dust. There is one red blinking light. Say, let's deactivate that wharf. Okay. Data finds basically their version of SD card, which is circular information storage device, crude analog of our own isolinear chip, crude by our standards. But this was built when people on Earth were just figuring out mechanical clocks and cross things. Because I don't know if I can get it to work. I can try, but it's pretty old. And Data plugs it into the reader, turns purple. Data does some scanning. Galaxar appears on the screen from the Permilian dance crew, Claponi or something. Want to let everybody know we danced, and we danced, and we danced. We danced alone, ironically enough. And it was I alone am responsible that we danced off. I failed as captain of this dance crew. And everybody, all my crew, let him down, out. And Picard calls the Enterprise. He goes, yeah, we can come back at your leisure, O'Brien. We've seen everything we need to. They're all thinking about it, what if we had to do it? What if we were only, they do more than just dance-offs. Then they go to the bridge. Picard is pumped. Thrilling. Absolutely thrilling. Troy's looking at him, big smiles. Now, I was right. We did find some old stuff on there. Talk to the captain, friendly. My own counterpart, final message. Troy's laughing. Then her and Riker share a look, and they get caught. We got to put this ship in a museum, man. Aye, sir. So he catches him laughing at him, and he stares them down. And they're still smiling. She goes, I'm sorry, Captain. It's just a rare pleasure to see you so happy. And he kind of goes, yeah. Goes, let's get back on track, Crusher. Then Data says, it's 2% drop in energy here. Okay, let's, then alarm goes off. Got some sort of high intensity music coming up, a volume, ear hurting level. Energy's down to 5%, yellow alert. They say put up the sonic shields because we don't want to hear that music. We don't know what it is. Reverse course, full impulse power. No response, Wesley says. Picard and Riker look at each other. Okay, go to warp 1. Nothing's happening. They call Geordi. And he goes, everything's working. As a matter of fact, it's even firing. The engines are firing. We're just stuck here. So we should be flying. But it's like somebody has the brakes on. 12% power loss now. Red alert. Picard stands. Music volume is intense and getting more intense. Got to shut the engines off. All right. Is this possible? And then Picard says it must have been the same thing that happened to the other dance crew. And they zoom on him. 1,000-year-old booby surprise. So the surprise was in the dance floor wreckage is hidden speakers that use the power from your ship. I'll just tell you because so it goes to a kind of stuff. Okay, engines are idling, energy loss, but we got 3 hours of energy. And we won't be able to hold those sonic shields after that. Can't figure out where it's coming from. Music's so strong, we can't find the speakers. Why are we losing the energy? I don't know. Check the history books, Data. So I guess I spoiled it. It says, there's plenty of things, mentars, and they're first used the Kazavteke passive lure stratagem. Comparable to Riker goes, comparable to this situation, Data. They go, we should go back to that ship and see if there's any answers over there and get to the bottom of it. And Picard goes, agreed. Mr. Worf, can we put the shields down and let music in? Yeah, that'd be fine. 2 seconds or whatever. He goes, Geordi, you got to figure out a way to get the Enterprise running. Data, You join Riker, find out what happened on that other ship. Get moving. Let's go. So we see the ships again. Geordi's pressing buttons, thinking, why can't we move? He says, computer, we got to, as our power went up, was there a counter reaction? Affirmative. Opposing force grew in direct proportion to power input. Okay. So that kept us from moving. Counterforce, correct. Geordi looks around, stands up, hits some other buttons, looks up something on the computer. I don't know what, bunch of readouts. He goes, who's L. Brahms? He must be Leah Brahms, Dr. Leah Brahms, engineer, graduate, Daystrom Institute, theoretical propulsion group, Galaxy-class starships, Team 7, junior member. Junior member? She wrote the book on propulsion. Okay, call up the design logs, check the menus, got records, and we got L. Brahms' voice entries. Geordi says, voice entries, eh? So then Brahms starts talking about her logs, about working on the engines. Heading, subspace, Leah Brahms. It's like an audiobook than a podcast. But Geordi says, how you doing, Doc? Yeah, she goes, specify program. He goes, oh, yeah, let's get to work. It's my style, too. So I guess Geordi's being himself. And then Picard meets with Dr. Crusher, who says, okay, well, this is, if the music's going to be as loud as we expect, we got about, after the shields go down, we'll have 30 minutes, and that'll be it. We'll never dance again. Riker goes, then they call from the ship. They go, we found a bunch of other memory chips here. Data says, maybe the captain's logs. That's what Picard says. Are they going to work, Data? Maybe. We can enhance them on ship. He goes, okay, get back here, quick. Aye, sir. Then Geordi starts looking at the dilithium crystal chamber. He's trying to figure, he's just blue sky brainstorming again. What if we move the crystal, reoriented? Dr. Brahms says, it's possible. Got to adjust the lattice structure. We're going to integrate it in the next class of starships. Geordi goes, I can't wait for that. Leah, we got 2 hours till our shields go down. Or an hour and a half, I don't know. Geordi goes, you know what I need to do? I need to be inside of this. I need to turn this thing inside out. And he goes, computer, can you make a can you do this on the holodeck? Prototype schematic or, goes, what's a prototype? Development stage prototype. Utopia Planatia Drafting Room 5, Mars Station, Stardate 40174. Geordi goes, perfect. Put it on holodeck 3. He goes, Doc, I'll meet you there. He runs. Then he walks the holodeck. Then he does have to punch a code in. And he goes, all right, ready? And they say, all right, holodeck 3 program's ready. Geordi walks in. And there's a recreation of a lab, I guess, or the construction. There's a version of Enterprise being worked on right back where it all started. I guess a prototype on Mars Station. There's crystals, there's models of ships. It's not in a bottle, but Geordi's looking around. There's all the notes on they have clear boards instead of whiteboards. Geordi goes, Leah, did you design this? Dilithium crystal chamber was designed at Outpost Sarin T1, 452. And he goes, what really happened? He goes, that off the record. They say access denied, personal logs restricted. Geordi goes, okay. Another person won't be personal with me on the holodeck. And he says, I need to supplement the energy supply to the ship and the engines. Could we alter, he's just trying to, theoretically, she says, yeah, we could. Maybe faster injection. He goes, well, this is your thing. He goes, show me how to do it. Then there's a hand on his shoulder. He turns. And there's a woman there in kind of, I don't know, green? She has a turtleneck, and kind of blank look on her face. So then we cut to the two ships. He goes, computer, did I ask for a simulation? Affirmative. You asked Dr. Brahms to show you. Geordi looks at Dr. Brahms. Yeah, I created, the computer's like, I created a facsimile. And Geordi goes, I guess so. Good to see you, Leah. And she just stares at him, breathing through her nose. Continue with your analysis. And Leah says L52, 452, L57, reactants, calibrate other systems, equal factors, multiple injector streams, Geordi says. Yeah, we could do it. We could hold our own. He turns, he goes, Leah, you're beautiful. Calls the captain. Think we found a way to do it, maybe. Good job, Geordi. Can you get us out here? Not sure about that yet. I just want to maintain the shields. Oh, okay. Says we'll get right on it. Picard goes, pass it on to your team. We're all smiles down here. Leah's not smiling, no. Then they're back on the bridge. Data says, yeah, these are the captain's log, these SD cards. A lot of them aren't working, though. And they say, scrub through everything, see what we can listen to, what we can glean data. So basically, Leah is like AI, just as a heads up, and it gets interesting. And they say, okay, like, what is the captain talking about? They're at the Science One station. Then back with Geordi, 452 versus L575. Got the energy up at 14%. Geordi smiles. Leah's she's not even moving. And she's looking off into space. Geordi says, okay, this is weird. Computer, do you have any, personality on file for Dr. Brahms? They go, yeah, we got the Starfleet profile from 456. Geordi goes, that'll be boring. What about a debate at the Intergalactic Caucasus? Chaya 7. Oh, yeah. Went to Chaya 7 more than one time. All right, put the data from all those sources and create a true representation of Dr. Brahms. The computer says it'll be a 9.37 margin of error in the interactive responses from the facsimile. Geordi goes, I can live with that. Which I said, wow, that's pretty good. 91%. Then Leah breathes through her mouth like she's been given life or something. Blinks, turns to Geordi, studies him, kind of smiles, then really smiles, puckered like smile. Dr. Brahms? Geordi, call me Leah. Don't call me Dr. Brahms. I'll call you Commander LaForge. She goes, let's get to work here. Can't leave this in realignment. We're going to burn out components, so we got to get moving, Geordi. Are you with me? Geordi's just kind of staring at her. Yeah. And he goes up, takes the side next to her at one of the stations. He looks at her again, though. Then we go back to the bridge, go back to Galak Sar. He says, yeah, our engines stopped working. We can't move. So we have to dance, and we can't stop dancing because of this music. It's aceton simulators or something in the rubble. The speakers, the loudest speakers ever made. Aceton assimilator speakers. They drain power from distant sources. That's what powers them. We can modify them. Oh, no, they convert energy into, they take the energy from your ship. And they just hit them in this field. Instant booby surprise. You're just going to dance until you can't dance anymore. Then Geordi and Leah have their first disagreement about power boosting and parallel subspace. And Geordi says, she goes, this is my design. She goes, I know what I'm doing. Geordi goes, I've been in the real world. This isn't like, he goes, it won't work out. And they go, this, and no. He goes, she goes, I'm not used to being questioned. Geordi goes, well, I'm responsible for everybody on the ship. You worked in a lab with a static model. This is a working machine. 10,000 light years on it. She says, true. Geordi goes, darn tootin'. She turns away from him. Geordi goes, listen, he goes, it's just a circuit paths. Don't you understand? She looks back at him over her shoulder. He looks back at her. She smiles, shakes her head. She goes, okay, you're good, Geordi. Very good. He goes, I know my ship inside and out, baby. So weird. She goes, well, you must know me, because a lot of me is in this ship. I guess not any worse than Barkley. And then she goes, that's what's wrong. We never, us designers who never got out into space. He goes, well, you're here now with me. Yeah, I don't think he says with me, but she smiles. They say, Riker calls, Geordi, what's going on up there? Get down here. On my way. He goes, don't go away. He goes, she smiles again. Computer save program. You would think it would autosave when you move. They go, Data, how many speakers are we talking about? At least several 100,000. Any deterioration? No way to know that. Likely, but is there a weakness, Worf, in any part? Nothing substantial of any kind. 0.1% dip in the speaker power in this one area. 21 Mark 8 by 42 by 0. And they say, well, we could fire phasers at those speakers. And they say, yeah, but it could just make them more powerful. Or that's what Data says. If you fire the phasers, the speakers could get louder. That's what they need most, energy. And Picard goes, I'm sure they were trying to figure this out on that other ship 1,000 years ago. Well, let's try it. And he goes, Geordi, get back to engineering and continue your efforts. Worf, prepare phasers. There's one dude in blue at one of the he's working at 2 stations at once, Science 1 and something else. They fire the phasers, and of course it increases the speaker power. We zoom on Picard, though. 8%, 10%, they're draining our energy reserves. Picard says, darn you. And Geordi and Leah are working on one of these clear boards, talking processors, reconfiguring. Energy reserves are low. They say we gotta cut all simulations. And Geordi says, override restricted. Geordi says, what? Computer? And then Leah vanishes. Then the lab vanishes. Then we just have the 2 ships again in space, probably the music, the echo music. And let's see. Oh, yeah, there was other stuff about the music. Synthesize. There's a lot of romantic music with Geordi and Leah. That reminded me of the movie. And I guess the plot is kind of like the movie. There was a movie, believe it or not, in the 80s. I guess it's a somewhat standard plot, but a man who fell in love with a mannequin. And then the mannequin, I don't know if the mannequin came to life and then became a mannequin again and then became a human but he was in love with, it was called Mannequin. And I saw it, by the way, as a child. No wonder, I'm not kidding, as a child, not in high school probably. I saw that in the movie theater. And it was the same star, same kind of, Andrew McCartney, I think, was the star of it. Who was also in Weekend at Bernie's. So, if you wonder what's going on with Generation X, if you ever wonder, say, how'd you get like this? They said, well, those are two, those are just all the cereal commercials, all the cereal. And then when we started to reach our formative years, this is what we were shown. But yeah, so there's music like that. Like there's romantic music and then there's suspense music. Okay, then they're on like the conference room trying to figure out what we're gonna do. They say, okay, well, we'll just get the ship repaired once we get out of this. And they say, oh, well, there's somebody that's an optimist. And they go, well, how long we got, Worf, with the sonic shields? 2 hours, and music's up at 17% volume. And what impact will that have? So it went from 30 minutes to 26 minutes. Can't resist. We can't not resist. Geordi, what do we got? Have we shut everything else off, including strange simulations? Yeah, but I got to get a holodeck thing running again. For what purpose? Well, I went back to the beginning of the construction of the Enterprise and have created a propulsion design model. We're making progress. So Picard says, reinstate that program. You got 1 hour, Geordi, to give me a suggestion. And Geordi says, runs back, punches his code in. It's only like 3 or 4 digits. Enter when ready. Geordi rushes in. Not much time left, Leah says. All right, we got to figure this out. So booby surprise eats energy for breakfast. How do we fool it, block it? What do we do? And every move we make, there's a counter move, just like in actually dancing in a dance cruise. Maybe, but there's got to be a time differential or something, Leah says. Between the 4, we got to react before they react. We got to make our move before and then make another move before they make their counter move. Because, Leah, do you like Italian food? She would like it. Wait till I make you my fungili. And fusion reactor uplink. So Geordi's trying stuff. Then we see, so this is a very contained episode. I didn't realize it. Maybe that was like the budget was like, that's just too, but they're all contained. And this has a lot of sets on the ship. Now, this is really weird. Leah starts giving Geordi a shoulder massage. And he goes, don't do that. She goes, I'm sorry. Thought it would feel good. He goes, I don't want to feel good right now. She also has shoulder pads in her. I got 1,600 hours. What am I supposed to tell the captain? He goes, I'm not even talking about what I'm, pushing in the back of my subconscious. And she goes, I could do it. He goes, no one's fast enough, not even Data. How are you? She goes, I could do it. And he goes, it's not humanly possible. She goes, I'm not human, by the way. And he goes, you mean a computer could do it? Then Picard walks on the holodeck and he's like, what the heck? Geordi goes, Captain, this is a holographic simulation of a propulsion expert named Leah Brahms. Picard looks and he says, I've been examining force counterforce response times to see what we could do. And Picard goes, and he goes, there's a chance we can maneuver out of this if we turn the ship over to the computer. And Picard looks at Dr. Brahms and he goes, what kind of chance? And Geordi goes, I don't know. He goes, we could run some simulations. And Picard goes, this is the only way? Geordi goes, I think so. And Picard walks off. Geordi watches him go. Then we have the ships again, probably the echo music. Picard's sitting alone, staring out a window in the dark because, there's low power. Doorbell still works, so Ryder rings the doorbell. Any word from LaForge? Yeah, he's working on it. If we agree to stay out of it, he goes, he wants to turn the ship over to a computer. Now we see this different bias here. Could make quicker adjustments than any human. Riker says, computers have always impressed me on their ability to take orders, but I'm not convinced of their ability to creatively give them. Picard thinks, goes, yeah, number one. He goes, you missed something not playing with model ships. They were the source of imaginary voyages, each holding a treasure of adventures. Meaning the earliest spacecraft flying an airplane with one propeller to keep you in the sky. Riker's laughing again. One propeller? And then Picard said, now the machines are going to fly us. Then we go to Geordi and Dr. Brahms running basically a video game simulation. And first try fails. They adjust things, adjust some levels and stuff. I mean, this is pretty standard, like in old video games where you just keep having to do something over and over again until you got it. Then she escapes, but Geordi says, hold on. Then they repeat it again. She doesn't escape. Basically trying to dodge all these little speakers. Doesn't work again. Same variables. Then the alarm calls because the sonic shields are out. Lethal music exposure in 26 minutes. They zoom on Geordi's face. He breathes through his nose. And we see the ships again facing off. And Leah's trying to do it one more time. He goes, Picard calls. He goes, give me 2 more minutes. I just need 2 more minutes. I think there's another way. 2 minutes, please. Picard goes, you got 2 minutes, dude. It's like we can barely hear anything. She goes, Geordi, there's no other way. He goes, no, wait. What if you completely turn it around? Come at it from the opposite direction. So simple it might work. New simulation. And then Picard's facing everything. They go, okay. Geordi's explaining it. We tried to overpower it, but we can't do that. That's what we're supposed to do. That's the booby surprise. He goes, the computer's the best piece of engineering we'll ever need. And he goes, isn't 1,000 adjustments per second? Geordi goes, not if we shut everything off. And we just do a microsecond to beat the inertia, except for life support and 2 thrusters, no impulse, no computer, 1 propeller. And they got 12 minutes till the music gets intolerable and they start dancing. They say, what's the chance? Even money. No better than turning it over to a computer, no worse. Geordi says there's no way a computer can compensate for the human factor, the intuition, the experience, and, the instinct to get by, And Picard, he has a look on his face, true leadership, though he hasn't been, and he says, Data, I'll take it from here. Make it so. Geordi says, I can fly it. He goes, no, you've done your job. Now I must do mine. Oh, I relieve you, Mr. Crusher. Everybody's surprised. This is the man who built ships in bottles, man. Don't be surprised. The whistle blows. All hands get ready. It could be rocky. Picard's driving. We're shutting off everything. Know what's going to happen. Brace yourselves. Music's getting louder. Though we can't hear it, obviously, because just shut it all down. Data looks, probably should have shut data off, but I don't mean, maybe not. Guess you need it. And Picard just does one little tap, starts the ship moving, and then they shut everything off. Troy has her arms crossed. She's breathing through her mouth. Wes is looking around. A lot of music and faces. 135 meters per second. Okay, we're going to be in the debris field in 8 seconds. Picard looks, goes with another tap in 3, 2, 1. Taps again, looks down, makes one adjustment. Starboard thruster fires, and the ship turns. 340 Mark 10. He hits another button. Thrusters off, and they go large mass to port, may contain an assimilator. Picard hits support thruster. So this is very video game-esque, a slow video game. No reaction. It doesn't detect us. Made it past the first hurdle. And stuff's still beeping. Object to port. Port thruster firing. And Data says this thing is, all these gravitational masses are reducing our velocity. We don't have momentum to clear it. Picard says, thank you, Data. And he goes, so this asteroid's gravitation is drawing us closer, velocity increasing. So they head straight for this asteroid, which, spoilers, like where Picard's brilliance is shown. Velocity increasing, 219. Everybody's a series of shots. There's music playing. And then starboard aft thruster. Picard like spins the ship around the asteroid like actually like in Mario Kart. What does he do? That drift. They say, brilliant, man. You drifted around an asteroid using its gravity, and we're out. We got through it. Guard goes, you got the con crusher. Thank you, sir. Full restart the computers, get everything back up, and mark this thing to be, avoided or, dealt with. Oh, no, they shoot the photon torpedoes in there. They have to blow up the other ship, which I guess deactivates everything. I don't know. Then we have Geordi and Leah. Technology could solve any problem, enhance the quality of our lives, travel across the galaxy. Gave me vision. Sometimes you got to turn it all off. Even the violins. She goes, violins? He goes, oh, a different program. And she laughs. She goes, we made a good team. And Geordi goes, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe we could do it again sometime. She goes, I'm with you every day, Geordi. Every time you look at that engine, you're looking at me. This isn't a tingler. Every time you touch the engine, it's me. So I guess in some sense, this is really, Geordi should just read tinglers. And then they kiss. And it's a two-faced kiss, closed mouth, though. And Geordi says, computer, exit holodeck, end program. And he has, then that's it. And oh, interesting. And so that's the end of the episode. It's a good one. Good night, everybody. Another episode of TNG. Sleep with TNG. Good night. All right, I want to thank people that became a patron recently. Dawn, Becky, and Yana. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Mia, Sheridan, and Elijah. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Gabrielle, Mary, and Jana. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Amy Lee, Mary, Kate, and Elizabeth. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Cheryl, Elliot, and Jessica. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Miley, Sheila, and Will. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Russ, Susan, and Tregivi. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Courtney, Jen, and Lauren. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Jeannie, Nikita, and Joanna. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Yana, Quasi, and Lauren. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the show on Patreon or supporting the show directly wherever you can, or supporting the sponsors. That helps all the work that goes in the show, keeps the podcast coming out twice a week. And you can also support the show for free just by spreading the word about the podcast or spreading it in general. Couldn't do it without all of you. Thanks so much. Thanks, and good night. And here's either Scoots or Tuck You In sponsor. Good night.